Hey there, everybody. It is Sleuthy Teacher back with episode 2 of Nancy Drew number 6, Secret of the Scarlet Hand. Where we left off, we met all of our characters in this game. We completed all of the museum tasks and left off on quite a bit of a cliffhanger. The alarm went off, the police arrived at the museum, and we have just found out that a priceless Mayan artifact has been stolen from the museum. Talk about quite the cliffhanger. I think it's time for us to get off of it, so let's get into the game and start sleuthing, shall we? Alright, so here's where we left off. We can see that there is police caution tape placed, and the case has been broken, and there is a red handprint on a piece of paper.
I should talk to Joanna before I touch anything.
But we can't touch anything, so let's go talk to Joanna Fontana Bobana Banana and see what she has to say.
Someone has cooked up my worst nightmare and served it to me on a plate.
I'm sorry about the theft, Joanna. It must be a terrible loss for the museum.
That's the understatement of the year.
I don't know if Franklin Rose mentioned this, but I do have some experience with detective work. Do you mind if I check out the crime scene?
The police took some samples for the crime lab, but they couldn't promise any overnight results. So if you want to put your little magnifying glass up to the scene, it's fine with me.
A little magnifying glass? How insulting. Why do you have to say it that way?
What were their initial findings?
Who knows? Right now, my priority is to get a move on this insurance claim.
I've got work to do.
Go to it.
Okay, so we have permission to grab the piece of paper. Alright, and we can see that we have a Mayan glyph up here, and here's the classic Scarlet Hand print that is so widely associated with this game. And since there is a Mayan glyph on it, let's see if Henrik can tell us what it says. Oh, Henny. Or he's not here. Okay. Fun stuff. Oh, but there is a note. It says, Nancy, something's come up and I'll be gone for a bit. Your mission in the meantime. Run through the temple activities to verify that all questions can be answered based on the info available elsewhere in the museum. We don't want a little rascal rebellion on our hands when the exhibit opens now, do we? Be back ASAP. Thanks, Henrik. Okay, so more chores.
You have voicemail.
Nancy, hi. It's Franklin Rose. I'm calling because this theft is very bad news for the museum. You can't imagine the limb we went out on to acquire that Bouquet carving. It's been one of the museum's main attractions. I don't want to take you away from your internship, but if you can do a little investigating, well, I think I speak for the whole board when I say we'd be very grateful. Give me a call when you have a chance. And Nancy, thanks.
To replay messages, press...
Alright, so there we go. Franklin has asked us to get on the case.
You have...
Actually, we're gonna call him. Since we're already in here, we might as well.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose, how may I direct your call?
This is Nancy Drew, calling for Franklin Rose, please.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, hello. Do you have any news?
Not really, but something tells me this case is going to get complicated.
Oh, Nancy, you zero in on a case like a heat-seeking missile, don't you? I feel so much better knowing you're going to follow up on every lead. I'll help in any way I can.
Thanks, Mr. Rose.
That's what I'm here for.
Alright, so there we go. We are on the case. And since Henrik is not here, let's go talk to Joanna again.
Come in. Need something?
Have you seen Henrik? I found a piece of paper inside the Bouquet display case. It had some glyphs on it and a print of a red hand. I'm hoping he can give me a translation.
What am I, fish food? Henrik's not the only one around here who can read a glyph, you know.
Glub glub.
Sorry, Joanna. I thought I was supposed to go to Henrik with all my glyph questions.
The police showed me the note. It said, "The magician suffers yellow death," whatever that means. Apparently, the thief just couldn't come up with the glyphs for the curator suffers flaming purple disgrace.
I'm curious about the red handprint the thief left. Does it have any significance in Maya culture?
Afraid I can't help you there. What I want to know is what the hand was printed with. It's obviously not finger paint. Why don't you do a little analysis on it in the lab?
I haven't seen Henrik since the theft. Where do you think he could be?
Who knows?
Henrik is missing, huh? Alright, well, we have permission now to use the equipment in the lab to see what the handprint has been printed with. So put this in here and start her up.
Okay, I've got a graph of the chemical used for the handprint. Now I've got to match it up with a known substance.
Okay, so we're gonna click compare here. And go through and find the one that matches. There we are.
That's it!
HGS. Okay, so we can grab our handprint, turn this off, and then use the periodic table to identify the elements.
According to this chart, Hg stands for mercury. S stands for sulfur. So the handprint was made from mercury and sulfur.
Mercury and sulfur. Okay, which? Mercuric sulfide. Interesting. 555-6766. Let's give them a call.
You have...
Keep it real. Max speaking.
Hi, I'm the new deputy curator over at Beech Hill Museum. I wonder if you could answer a couple of questions for me about our ordering history.
Well, hello there, Beech Hill. Hey, you're not Sunny June. Whatever happened to that guy? I suppose he caught a ride on a flying saucer, huh? What a riot. I'm sorry. Anyway, you don't need to reorder, do you? Unless you ate last week's shipment for breakfast, that is.
You're sure it was last week?
Well, that's what it says here.
Do you know who placed that order?
Well, the initials on the order are JR.
Was the package shipped to the museum?
Oh? Oops, I guess we didn't ship it at all. It looks like the package was picked up here at the warehouse.
Can you remember anything about the person who picked up the package?
I sure can't. Guess I must have been at lunch or something.
Well, thanks for your help.
Sure thing. I hope there wasn't any problem with the stuff, was there? We only used the top-grade mercuric sulfide.
Judging by the impression it left, I'd have to agree that the quality was fine.
Well, you sound a little green in the chemicals department, if you don't mind my saying so. I hope you know that mercuric sulfide is highly toxic. Makes you crazy.
Toxic?
Oh, looks like I've got another call coming in here. You give us a call in about 4 months or so when you start to run out, okie doke? And don't forget to keep it real.
All right, so the compound that was used to create the handprint was mercuric sulfide that was ordered for the museum with someone with the initials JR, Joanna Riggs.
Need something?
I did the chemical analysis you suggested. That red hand was printed with a compound containing mercury and sulfur. Does that mean anything to you?
Sure, cinnabar. The Maya would rub it into their most important carvings to add definition to the artist's lines.
Where would a person get a supply of cinnabar?
We use cinnabar here at the museum the same way the Maya did, to keep things as authentic as possible. Henrik orders those kinds of supplies, but we've been out of stock for quite a while. The last I heard, there was some kind of holdup with the distributor.
I've got work to do.
Go to it.
Interesting. So that does not go along with what we just heard from the guy at Keep It Real. Close-up of the jade carving, eh? Alright, I have a feeling that's going to come in handy here in a little bit. But let's get our latest round of chores done. So we're going to go up here. Actually, because I know we're going to have to do it. Sorry, I know I'm clicking really fast. All right, let's take a look at some of the exhibits because we're going to need this information when we're doing the trivia up in the temple. So, tools of the trade. Ham radio used by the Cortazar Alvarez Palenque expedition circa 1955. Here we have a ham radio. Some clothes they wore on the expedition. We have some Maya artwork. Maya ruins like the one featured in this photo can be found throughout southern Mexico, Guatemala, and western Honduras. Even today, new cities are being discovered by archaeologists. Here we have an offering bowl. Offering bowl to the war god Balak, or Balak. The logograph for Balak is represented on the base of the bowl. So black kind of has that crosshatch look to it. We have some more carvings and some bowls. And then we missed this one. The Maya were renowned for their functional and stylistic expertise in pottery, painting, architecture, and jewelry. Artisans worked with a variety of materials, including clay, jade, gold, limestone, and wood. The variety of tools and materials used by the Maya demonstrate a complex and thriving trade system. So there's that. Maya kings. Maya kings not only ruled their people's political and military affairs, but their religious practices as well. Kings were considered to be divinely appointed by the supreme god Idzamna? I don't know. While the majority of kings were male, there were also several notable exceptions, including Lady Kanal Ikal, who ruled for over 20 years. Some more artwork. We have where the jade carving was, and it says this unusual jade relief features an intricate representation of Lord Pakal, one of the greatest rulers of the Maya classical period. Both the origin and function of this highly stylized piece are unknown. So that's the piece that was stolen. Then it says, in this relief, Pakal's mother offers her son the divine crown for his ascension to the throne. Lady Zak Cook was a powerful figure in Maya history and established the Pakal dynasty. So Lady Zak Cook was his mother, which is going to be important here in a little bit. I'm not even going to attempt to read this because I know I'm not going to read it correctly, and I'm not gonna put anyone through that. It says, Pakal, whose name translates to shield, was born in 603 CE and ascended the throne in 615 CE at the age of 12. Considered both a priest king and a military ruler, Pakal claimed divine descent and ruled the great Maya city-state of Palenque for 68 years until his death in 683 CE. The 11th ruler of Palenque, Pakal was responsible for the majority of the city's construction. His ancestry and accomplishments are immortalized in Palenque's temples and palaces, especially in the Temple of the Inscriptions, which was the primary sacred site in Palenque, and later the shrine for Pakal's tomb. Pakal was buried wearing the jade death mask you see here, to the right. The mask was meant to distinguish Pakal as royalty even in the afterlife. Much of what we know about King Pakal and the Maya civilization over which he presided has been pieced together by translating the glyphic inscriptions on his tomb. Super interesting. And then there's the death mask that they referred to in that plaque. Come over here. Religion played an important role in Maya society. All scientific progress was impelled by the priests' need to understand and manage the sacred forces of the Maya universe. Different gods represented aspects of Maya life, from basket weaving to calendar days. Even today, little is known about the role or names of the gods represented in Maya artifacts. Maya gods. The three masks depict the corn god, Yum-Cax, the jaguar god, Zablenke, and the sun god, Ahukin. And then here we have the calendar stones. The Zolkin calendar stones are used to compute the 260-day ceremonial year. The deities depicted in this exhibit are the rain, moon, and sun gods. So those are the ones that are right there. We have some more pottery. So I suppose the Mayan are similar to the Greeks, where they are polytheistic instead of monotheistic, which is pretty interesting. Maya customs. Most customs and rituals were based on religious practices and played an important part in Maya daily life. Some, such as the wearing of earrings, are considered by our culture as ordinary, while others, such as bloodletting and sacrifice, are seen as barbaric. Many ancient Maya customs are practiced today by the indigenous people of northern Central America and southern Mexico. We have some more pottery, a Maya ball game, which actually, we'll listen to
The
this one.
Maya ball game was a religious activity as well as a spectator sport. Players would propel a rubber ball through a small stone hoop using their thighs, hips, and forearms. It is believed that the players were often sacrificed after a game.
Brings a whole new meaning to blood, sweat, and tears, huh? Oof. All right. And here we have replicas of body-shaping devices. The Maya used these devices to change their appearances, and we listened to that playthrough earlier. We have some more Maya artifacts here. I promise there is a reason why we're looking at all of this. We have an inkwell. Maya scribes used a variety of writing tools, inks, and inkwells. Note the logograph for ink inscribed on the plate. All these logographs will also come in handy. The Maya numerical notation using both the bar and dot system and pictorial representations of the gods. And then scribes played an important role in Maya culture, and some were elevated to prominent social positions. The Mayan writing system used logographs to represent either sounds or ideas. Okay, so I believe, did we look at this? Nope. The Maya writing system is the most advanced ever developed in the New World. As with Egyptian hieroglyphics, symbols represent either sounds or concepts. Maya is considered a distinct linguistic group, and several modern variants exist today, including Quiche, Kachikal, and Ixal. I am so sorry if I'm saying these incorrectly. If someone knows the correct pronunciations of these, please feel free to let me know. Alright, we have some more out here. This limestone panel depicts the presentation of 3 captives to the throne of Shield Jaguar II. The bicephalic altar. This altar was dedicated during the reign of the 16th ruler of Copan, Yaxhasa. The focal point of this artifact is the large tool-headed crocodile. This creature is called the bicephalic monster and represents the continuous cycle of life and death. Little is known about this relief. It depicts a nobleman standing on a captive. Note the elaborate headdress and the cape containing references to Tlaloc, the rain god. We should have one more on this side. The seated figures are a royal couple whose detail is unusual for this area. The function of the artifact is unknown, but may have been part of a throne. Inscriptions reveal that the piece was dedicated to the goddess of the moon, Ixchel. Alright, now we'll go over to the other side. Oh, come on. There we go. Lady Zoc Vision Lintel. This lintel shows Lady Zoc, Shield Jaguar's wife, celebrating her husband's ascension 9/12/981/5 Imix for Mac, or October 23rd, 1681 CE. Lady Zoc kneels with her whipple tied around her knees. The whipple is a traditional woven Maya blouse that holds both symbolic and ceremonial significance. Maya believed that whipples had magic powers. This panel is one of several commissioned by Bird Jaguar and details his capture of a kahal, or prominent nobleman. Baktul stela. An early Maya ruler Baktul is represented in this stela performing a vision quest ceremony. The vision serpent looms over the king, revealing the ancient spirit that is being contacted. 4 miniature gods hang onto the body of the vision serpent. My goodness, I'm missing everyone. Okay. The marriage between Shield Jaguar and Lady Zoc is represented in this piece, as Lady Zoc offers a shield and jaguar helmet to her betrothed. Every time I think I can get closer and I can't. The famous British explorer Archibald Rutherford discovered this piece in 1884 with the Palenque Temple. The text on the slab commemorates Pakal's ascension, Zolkin date of 6 Lamont. That is also going to be very important later on. Alright, so now that we've had quite... Whoop. Oh no.
Henrik! Henrik!
Well then, this took a turn.
Amnesia? Wow. Henrik must have taken a real nosedive off that pyramid. Do you think he just fell, Nancy? Or was he pushed? Sounds like you need to find out about hospital visiting hours. Yeah, but you'd better get the lowdown from Joanna first. George is right. She is your supervisor after all.
Well, that's not good. Okay. So, just when we were hot on the trail of a sick trivia quest, Henrik interrupts us by falling off a temple. Way to go, Henrik. Oofda. Alright, so we're going to go back to the museum, check in with Joanna, and go from there, I guess.
Come in. First, the Bacall carving is stolen, and now my star glyph man bumps his head and forgets his own name? What's next, Nancy? Del Rio pulls the plug on the monolith, the board clams up on my funding, my mother posts my old prom pictures on the internet.
To be fair, I would totally love to see your old prom pictures, Joanna. I'm just saying, I'm imagining lots of lace and frills and puffy shoulder sleeves.
Take it easy, Joanna. I'm sure everything is going to be okay.
What I need from you right now is action, not commentary, Nancy. Will you follow up with the hospital and see if there's anything we can do to get Henrik's marbles back?
I'll call right away.
You can also pick up Henrik's mail if he gets any. Keep the lab in order and just try to help me keep the entire museum from going up in smoke.
I've got work to do.
Carpe diem.
So Henrik takes a fall, and all of a sudden the intern's stuck with everything. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna go into the lab here. So I'm sure we will have a message.
You have voice.
This message is for Nancy Drew. Hi, Nancy. This is Nurse Bluefoot calling from Eleanor Roosevelt Memorial Hospital in regards to Henrik Vanderheun. I believe you're a colleague of his? Since Mr. Vanderheun was admitted, he has repeated your name several times in states of semi-consciousness. As we've been unable to contact any of his family members, we're hoping you might be willing to act as Henrik's support person as he begins the difficult process of restoring his memory. Please call me as soon as possible to discuss this. My direct line is 202-555-4000. Thank you.
To replay messages, press 0.
Okay, let's call Nurse Bluefoot.
This is Nurse Bluefoot.
Nurse Bluefoot, this is Nancy Drew. You left me a message regarding Henrik Vanderheun. How is he?
Nancy Drew? Oh, thank goodness. Oh, I'm so relieved. We've been unable to locate any family members, and we do like amnesia patients to have at least one personal support person when they begin reality orientation.
What's reality orientation?
Well, reality orientation is a kind of treatment that helps a patient get reacquainted with the facts and circumstances of his or her life. Henrik has not actually lost his memory. It's just that his brain is injured in such a way that he can't access the place where the memories are stored.
I see. So we need to help him find the trail of crumbs. Is that it?
Exactly. First, we do repetitive memory exercises to help Henrik relearn the basic facts, like his name and address, the name of his parakeet, if he has one, the date, and so on. Second, we try to stimulate Henrik's sensory memories in order to help trigger or find the way back to his cognitive memories.
What are sensory memories?
A sensory memory is like it sounds, something that is familiar, that you recognize by sight or touch, smell or sound or... Oh, what is that last one? Oh yes, taste. A cognitive memory is something that you know or remember intellectually. For example, how do you know the name of this planet? Somewhere along the way you learn that it's called Earth, and you just remember. But say you bump your head and forget the name of this planet. You don't know where in the solar system you're floating.
Yikes!
Exactly. But then I show you a picture of our marvelous blue and green globe. Suddenly you remember. That glorious sight is Earth. I live on the planet Earth. This is how a sensory memory can trigger a cognitive or intellectual one.
What if the patient doesn't remember right away?
You can't help Henrik remember his childhood, but you can probably help him remember his work, and who knows where that will take him. All roads lead to Rome, as they say. One great tool is the Reality Orientation Board. This is a place to post information and pictures for the patient to look at over a period of time. You may want to bring in images or photos to place on the board. Things from the museum, perhaps.
I see. Well, I'll be happy to help in any way I can. When are visiting hours?
Visiting hours are 10 to 4 every day, if the patient is not engaged in treatment and if he seems stable.
Stable how?
Just remember, Henrik's brain has been knocked around like a peanut in its shell. He may have attention difficulties, headaches, anxiety. Sometimes he may seem giddy, too. We need to keep these conditions in check. Don't push him too hard, or he may have some kind of meltdown.
Well, the last thing we want is a meltdown. I'll go easy on him.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so now on top of keeping the museum afloat, we need to help Henrik get reoriented with reality. Actually, you know what? Before we move on, let's see if we can snoop in his desk now.
It's locked. It's locked.
Nope, still can't. Okay. So let's go to the hospital where Henrik is at. Actually, you know what? Since we're here, let's get the homework Henrik gave us before he fell done and out of the way. So up here we have some
I should put in my
games.
temple key card.
Alright, so let's see if I remember these. Should be that. This one should be this. This is 19. Oh gosh. This is ink. This is black. This is road. Look at me go. So that's one of the reasons why we went through and we read everything. I'm sure it kind of seemed like story hour a little bit, but there is a purpose for it. It is because all of the answers to the questions in this level and the levels that come after it can be found in the museum, or at least they should be able to be found in the museum. Okay, so we have done the matchup, we still have the quiz, and we have Bull. So since we're here, let's get this quiz done. All right, Bacall ruled over which city in present-day Mexico? That... Okay. Sorry, I'm typing one-handed here. All right, and Bacall's mother is Lady Zach Cook, because we read about that. The name of the calendar is the Zolkin. The name of the supreme god in Maya mythology is that one that I didn't know how to say. And language is Quiche. There we go. All right. And our final piece up here that we need to do is play another little game. This is Bull. Okay, there we go. Feels like that game goes on forever. But now the good news is we have gotten all 3 of the games up here done, so we can put our card into the door. Check out the artwork here. Pretty cool. We can put the card in the door and we can access the next level of the temple. I suppose I should probably check and see what time it is. Alright, it's 12. We're safe there. Oh gosh. This goes through very quickly. Interesting. Very interesting. Coming next month is whoever the next person is. They go through that very quickly. So I was watching Nancy Drew Walkthrough's interview with Robert Riedel, which if you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. It was very, very interesting. But I believe it was noted that there was a little miscommunication, and I think there was a purpose for this being included. It was a very, very interesting interview. So if you're looking for some Nancy Drew content to check out, I highly recommend it. It was very, very well done. All right, so we have old school basketball game. So you have to choose where you want your character to be, and then you have to choose the power and the angle, and the goal is to get the basketball through the hoop. So let's give this a try. Hey! Alright. I may have this solution memorized. And then I forgot to adjust on the last one. Way to go. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. The first one. And the third one. And the fifth one. And this time we're not going to forget to adjust the strength. There we go. Booyah. All right, so that is done. Go us. Also, I'm pretty sure I said this on the last episode, but I have to say it again. The music in this game. Kevin Manthe did a fantastic job. And we know this from Sunny's notebook that we found. Space baby. Alright, so a fun little hack, rather than just wandering around aimlessly, you can push M on your keyboard and it gives you a map. So you don't have to wander about aimlessly, not sure of where you are going, which is very helpful. This is the perfect song for this puzzle. Oh, dead end. Oops. How did I get turned around? Okay, is there a way? I think I was a little overconfident. I was like, oh yeah, as long as you have the map, you're fine. Proceeds to get completely turned around for no good reason. Oof. Let's see here. Oh, is that where I made that? There we go. That makes more sense. Okay, now we're back on track. Okay, almost there. Oh, wrong way. There we go. And we've got it. Huzzah! Alright, so then our last thing we have is some more trivia. Okay, what was the name of one of Shield Jaguar's wives? It is Lady Zoc. There we go. The Maya monster is the bicephalic. Oh, for Pete's sake. Okay, There we go. Maya call, that was a Whipple. Call was the prominent nobleman. Am I spelling this wrong? What is going on? I'm checking my notes, one moment. What is going on? Okay, I know I'm spelling this right. What is happening? Now this is gonna bother me. We need to find out what's up. Okay, so if I remember correctly, no, that's not that one. Is it this one? Call prominent local nobleman. Oh. I did a dumb.
It's locked.
We're gonna try this again. Okay, so this is Lady Zoc. There we go. What is the name of the Maya matchmaker? I can't find the answer to this in the museum. SJ. Alright. So we're gonna have to ask around for that one. Cannot proceed. And this is why you check your spelling on stuff. And then check it again. And then once more, just because. Alright. So we are pretty much stuck there. Let's go to where Henrik is at and check on him.
You look familiar. Is it time for my snack?
Hi, Henrik. I'm Nancy. We met at Beech Hill before your head injury.
Beech Hill?
Beech Hill is a museum here in Washington, D.C. The curator's name is Joanna Riggs. You were working there, and that's where your accident happened. Do you remember anything about the accident?
Joanna Riggs. Is that the woman who called to pick my brain for an access code?
What access code would that be?
Where in my poor banged-up head would I be keeping access codes? I don't even remember my own birthday. So if you're here to squeeze me for details, you're wasting your time.
According to Nurse Bluefoot, you haven't lost any data. Your brain just doesn't know how to locate certain things at the moment. We need to give it some clues.
How, pray tell, do you intend to do that?
I'll visit, we'll talk. Sometimes I'll bring you pictures.
Pictures? Well, isn't this nice?
Come on, Henrik. You'll feel much better once things start coming back to you. I've got a picture with me if you'd like to give it a try.
Fine, I'll do it.
Great. These are Maya glyphs, like the ones you used to translate. Now, don't be upset if you don't know how to read them anymore. I can tell you what they mean.
I know what they mean, dear. I wrote them.
I'm sure you have written them at one time or another in your career. So, what do you think this is all about? The magician suffers yellow death.
Your translator is sloppy. I should know. I am the author of the original work.
The author? What are you talking about?
That first glyph is the fool, not the magician. Furthermore, any decent epigrapher knows those glyphs refer to the infamous plague of oozing hives. A fitting curse for a fool, don't you think? I rather like it.
Henrik, this note was found at a crime scene. Are you telling me you left it there?
I don't remember.
I'm investigating the theft of the Bouquet carving. Please, Henrik, try to remember something.
Who in the world is Pakal? Oh, my head. Oh, the pressure. I can't take any more today, Nancy.
Okay, it's time for some memory therapy. Nancy, could you come back tomorrow?
All right, so Henrik gave us some interesting information. According to him, he is the author of the Scarlet handprint note. But if he's the author, then what does that mean? All right, let's go talk to Sinclair.
It's a fiasco, just as I feared. Oh, I'm sick about the whole thing.
I see you've spoken with Joanna.
I was in the museum when it happened.
Have you spoken to the police?
I told them everything I know. I mean, I coughed up my brains right there on the table.
That's gross.
So, do you think this is linked to the thefts in Topeka and New Mexico?
That awful red hand was left on Prudence Rutherford's jewelry box in Topeka and on the display case in the museum in New Mexico. What's the chance they're not connected?
Do you know Prudence Rutherford personally?
Oh, we saw each other at functions now and then. Poor Prudence. She adored that necklace.
What's the name of the museum in New Mexico?
The Chaco Canyon Cultural Center. They had a beautiful collection up there, worth a bundle, too. I appraised some pieces for them a few years back.
Why do you think the thief is leaving this red handprint?
To be a gruesome scoundrel?
I need a photo of the Bouquet carving. Do you have one?
Joanna took the official print for her insurance claim, but I have a couple extras. Here you go.
Sweet.
Keep up the good work. Any news?
There was an incident at the museum. Henrik is in the hospital with a head injury.
Poor Henrik. Another squabble between him and Joanna, perhaps? Oh, I'm kidding, but I do remember the time she threatened to push him in the pond. Temper, temper, I'm always telling her.
I'd better get going.
See you around.
Interesting. Okay. Also noticed he threw in that little fact that he was there when the theft happened. Interesting. All right, since we're talking to everyone anyway, let's talk to Alejandro.
Hello, Nancy.
Why did Mexico choose to lend the monolith to Beech Hill and not some other museum?
Johanna Riggs outbid everyone. I had no idea a small museum like Beech Hill could afford such an expensive arrangement.
Do you know much about Maya glyphs?
You've got me there. I know Spanish, English, Portuguese, several indigenous languages, including Quiche and Nahuatl, but I have yet to learn the language of glyphs.
Have you heard? The Bouquet carving was stolen from the museum.
Well, I heard the alarms going off, but it wasn't until Henry called me that I heard the news.
So, you were in the museum at the time?
I was dropping off the monolith agreement for Joanna, as I said I would.
Interesting, so he was there as well.
And you didn't stop to see what was going on?
I was running late. I just figured somebody tripped a wire and I kept going. Whew.
I'll need to alert the police so they can ask you some questions.
I have diplomatic immunity, so I do not have to answer any questions. But I will, because I have nothing to hide.
Don't you care about the disappearance of such a rare Maya artifact?
That artifact was lost to me as soon as it left Mexican soil. So my friend Pakal goes underground for a while until he is sold again. Suddenly, he turns up in Amsterdam, or Hong Kong. Unless he is rightfully repatriated to Mexico, what's the difference?
Have you heard? Henrik Vanderheun fell off the pyramid at the museum. He's in the hospital with a mysterious head injury.
That is terrible news. I hope it's not too serious.
Do you consider Henrik a conquistador, along with Joanna Riggs and Sinclair?
Henrik is a student of my culture and my heritage, not trying to buy and sell it. We don't agree on everything, especially not baseball, but I have nothing against him.
Do you know what cinnabar is?
The red powder that the Maya used? Sure, I know it. They use it at Beech Hill too, do they not?
Cinnabar was used to make the red handprint that was left at the scene of the Bouquet theft.
What is your point?
I think Joanna may have been less than truthful with me.
Have you called the police?
I don't want to jump to conclusions.
Of course. Sister Joanna couldn't possibly be a thief now, could she?
I should get back to the museum.
Adios, Nancy.
Adios, my dude. Alright, so he was also at the museum when the theft happened. Interesting. Alright, so I think we have enough information to be able to make some phone calls now. We should be able to call the Chaco Canyon Cultural Center. And we should also be able to talk to Franklin Rose about Prudence Rutherford. We're going to start with Franklin.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose, how may I direct your call?
This is Nancy Drew, calling for Franklin Rose, please.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, to what do I owe the pleasure of this call?
I need to contact a woman named Prudence Rutherford. I noticed she's on the board of the Topeka Commission for the Arts, and that they've donated money to Beech Hill. Any idea how I might track her down?
Well, you're in luck. It so happens that Prudence and I sat on the panel of judges for the Kansas Speak No Evil Mime competition for 3 years in a row. Back when I lived in Wichita. How's that for a small world?
Okay, I'm sorry, but Speak No Evil as a name for a mime competition is absolutely fantastic.
You judged a mime competition?
Indeed I did. I haven't talked to Prudence in about 10 years. But let's see if I still have her in this old dinosaur of a Rolodex. Ah, yes, here we go. Got a pen? It's area code 785-555-7279. What's this all about?
Miss Rutherford had a necklace with a Maya artifact stolen right out of her home. I'm trying to see if there's any connection between these robberies.
Ha! You're a real pro, Nancy. Say, why don't I call ahead and let Prudence know what's going on? That way I can say hello and she'll be expecting you.
That would be great, Mr. Rose.
Not a problem, dear.
Alright, so he's going to call ahead and talk to Prudence. We are going to try calling Chaco Canyon again. Nope. One first. 1-505-555-1222.
Chaco Canyon Cultural Center.
Hi, I'm hoping to speak to someone about the theft that happened there recently.
Are you the press?
No, I'm a detective investigating a similar crime in Washington, D.C.
This is Sheila Schultz, the director. What would you like to know?
My name is Nancy Drew. I'm calling from the Beech Hill Museum in Washington, D.C. I understand you had some rare Maya artifacts stolen recently.
That's right. It's a terrible loss, and the police here have no leads.
Beech Hill was robbed, too. We lost one of our prized jade carvings.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
I'm wondering if the robberies are connected. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about the incident at Chaco Canyon?
Fire away.
I heard the thief left a red handprint at the scene of the crime. Is that true?
Yes. It was very gruesome. It looked like blood, but according to the police analysis, the print was made with a mercuric sulfide paste.
Do you know of any symbolic meaning attached to a red hand?
Don't walk, don't go there, talk to the hand, as my 15-year-old would say. Really, I haven't the slightest idea.
I love that they reference that. Talk to the hand.
What types of artifacts did the thief get away with?
Only the center's most prized pieces. The case contained 5 pre-Columbian artifacts that were excavated right from this area.
Which piece would you say is the greatest loss for the center?
Definitely the jade carving. It was highly unusual. There was a glyph on it that no one could translate. Until we hired Henrik Vanderheun, that is. His opinion was that it's Mayan in origin, and that it may have been a place name glyph for this area. As you can imagine, we regarded it as something of a regional treasure.
Do you know that Henrik Vanderheun works for Beech Hill now?
Yes, I know. His departure was a great loss for us.
Why didn't you mention the connection when I told you I was from Beech Hill?
I guess it didn't seem important.
Was Henrik still working at Chaco Canyon when the theft occurred?
No. It happened just a few days after he left. I remember because after the police left, the staff and I were so depressed, we went into the lounge and pigged out on the rest of Henrik's farewell cake.
Was Henrik on good terms with Chaco Canyon when he left?
Well, it was awfully abrupt. As soon as he heard about that monolith, boom, he was gone. For some reason, he just had to go study it. We weren't exactly happy about it, but it's not like quitting is against the law.
Do you recall having some appraisal work done by an art dealer by the name of Taylor Sinclair?
How could I forget? He went on and on about the impossibly rare artifacts he could get for us. I said, "Are you an art dealer or a smuggler?" But he assured me that the provenance documents would all be in order. Still, I never did any further business with him. He just seemed slippery.
Could you send me a photo of that jade carving so I can take a look at the glyph?
I'm afraid I sent our only print off to the insurance company. They said they'd return it, but who knows when our claim will be processed. I'm sorry.
Thanks a million, Sheila.
Feel free to call if you have any more questions.
Okay, so now let's call Prudence. So 1-785-555-7279.
You have reached the villa of Prudence Rutherford. As you may have heard, the sanctity of my home has recently been violated. If you've reached this recording, it means I've gone to my quiet place, so please don't leave a message. You are welcome to try back another time. If you are calling about the Corn Growers Ball, rest assured that the show will go on as scheduled on the 9th.
Okay. Well, so much for talking to Prudence now, I suppose. Let's go back to the museum. And I think I might have about maybe 5 more minutes left or so, and then we are going to call this episode Invested. Alright, let's see here. Okay, Joanna is not in here. Okay, let's go over here. Another note. Nancy, the police called. They want me to go down to the station for further questioning. Something about an anonymous tip. Ugh, do I have time for this? No. Please hold down the fort while I'm gone, will you please? I left my office open. If you need anything, be back soon. Joanna. Did not mean to click on that. Alright. Let's see here. Can we do anything?
It's locked. It's locked.
At Henrik's desk, not without a key. Alright, let's see if we have anything over here to do. Okay, no boxes, nothing here. Alright, we may have to go back to the hotel and go to bed, so that we can go back and talk to Henrik again after reality reorientation or whatever it's called. Try going back. Nope, it's night. Okay. Alright, well, back to the hotel then. I suppose we could try Prudence again.
Yes, hello?
Hi, this is Nancy Drew, calling from Washington, D.C. I'm trying to reach Prudence Rutherford, please.
Oh, yes. Franklin told me you'd be calling. Such dreadful news about Beech Hill. I will do everything in my power to help you catch those rapscallions. To think how they violated the sanctity of my domicile. Good heavens!
I'm sorry to hear about your loss. What can you tell me about the necklace?
I can't even think about it. Oh, just the very thought of my precious necklace gone, stranded, orphaned, and in the hands of some dirty stranger makes my blood boil.
Where did you purchase the necklace?
Good heavens, one does not purchase such a piece. I inherited it from my mother-in-law. But you see, the necklace means much more to me than just a handful of priceless rubies.
Did the necklace have a lot of sentimental value?
Yes, I'm afraid it did. I had the necklace restrung to include an exquisite jade carving as the centerpiece, a genuine artifact of the ancient Maya. The carving is not only one of a kind, but a Rutherford family heirloom given to me by my great-grandfather when I was just a little girl.
Does the carving have any meaning that you know of?
It features a rare glyph. No one's been able to give me a precise translation, but most epigraphers have agreed that it has something to do with a snake, the color green, and the direction south. It's terribly fascinating.
About the theft, where were you when it took place?
At 3 a.m.? Well, I was home, of course. Lost in sweet slumber. I don't grace the social circuit the way I used to. That brazen fiend crept right into the bedroom and took my necklace away. Where was I? Picking peaches in the fruit-laden orchards of my dreams. I feel like such a fool.
Do you think the thief or thieves had any idea of what they were stealing?
Oh, they must have known. The rest of my valuables were left untouched. Frankly, I don't know whether to be grateful or insulted.
What about evidence?
The first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was this positively ghoulish red handprint on the wall. I nearly jumped out of my skin.
A red handprint was left at the scene of the crime at Beech Hill, too. Ms. Rutherford, I'm almost certain that these robberies were committed by the same person.
But why? What is so special about these carvings?
Miss Rutherford, I'd like you to meet Beech Hill's epigrapher, Henrik Vanderheun. Is there any chance you could fly out to Washington for a couple of days?
I'm afraid that's out of the question. The annual Corn Growers' Ball is just 3 weeks away, and I'm the head of the steering committee. Besides, this whole thing has left me so out of sorts. I'm in no condition to travel.
I understand, Miss Rutherford. Is there any other way you could get me some more detailed information about the jade carving?
I can do better than a photo. The insurance company made this dreadful replica of the necklace with the idea that I would wear such a thing to public functions. Please. But I could send that to you if you'd like.
Oh, that would be wonderful. How soon could you have it here?
You'll have it tomorrow or the next day. My secretary will have the address of the museum. Now, if that is all you would require, young lady, I will need to attend to other pressing matters.
Thanks a million, Miss Rutherford. I won't let you down.
Call me Prudence. Oh, and Nancy, when you find the villains who did this to me, do me a favor and give them a sound thrashing.
You're coming through loud and clear. Bye.
All right, so there we go. Prudence is going to send us the jade carving replica that her insurance company made. We found out some interesting information from the Chaco Canyon Cultural Center, and it seems like a pretty good place to stop. So I think we're gonna wrap this episode up here. Join me next week as we continue to solve the secret of the Scarlet Hand. Thank you so much for joining. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Who's your favorite character in this game so far? I'd love to know. Thank you again so much for watching, and until next time, stay sleuthy.